Welcome to the road to Grand Centurion. Hop on board. This is the advanced course taken after fundamental programs such as Quick Start Heritage Coaching Academy. We've done this sort of every week now for the last 5 weeks. This is our 6th week, so I'm sure you guys get the idea of the program. Mondays, certain Mondays, 10 o'clock. This will be our last Monday together. We do record it. And then what we do is schedule Thursdays. We are doing Thursdays again this week, I believe. Yes, 1 o'clock in person. Are we doing that, Tina? Do you know if that's on the schedule? I'm just trying to.
It is, yep.
Perfect. Okay. And if you are doing this as a video series, so what we're doing is recording this and putting this into a video series. So there won't be in-person Thursdays at 1 o'clock in that case. But what we're suggesting is that let's go back. Well, grab a gym buddy or let your manager know and or somebody that sort of can hold you accountable or answer some of your questions. So your managers will be able to do that at any point in time. Now, we are giving out certificates for 80% of the people that attend, or the people that attend 80% of the coaching classes on Thursdays. To get a certificate, say you've been through the program. We just want to make sure that there was interaction and accountability, that you were able to get something from the program and put that in place. And today is all about that. We have gone through 6 different sessions, which first included the fundamentals, which is the foundations of a good business plan. We reviewed what it is you need in order to be an award winner. Really, having those systems in place make you successful. So you have to have them. Those are sort of non-negotiables. Number 2, we went over what a rainmaker is. And in order to really scale your business, you need to be driving a funnel of leads all the time. People that are, some people are just infectious that way. People want to gravitate towards them and we'll use them as a real estate agent. Others need to make it rain a different way in terms of putting systems in place and having great lead gen systems and converting them. So number 3, we went through scaling and return on investment. Anytime a business needs to grow, you will look at ways you can be more efficient, ways you can scale, whether that be spending more money in the most effective areas to grow that business, and or time. So spending time in certain areas and making sure you're spending your time in the best areas possible to generate business. Number 4, we went over hiring, how important hiring is in the process. You need to surround yourself with good people, especially when you're looking to scale to the next level. Number 5, we went over the need to feed. So win on more lead gen opportunities, and really focused on in the road to Grand Centurion is conversion, because right now you can buy leads, you can generate leads. That's usually not the issue. It's the fact that what do you do with those leads when they come in? Are you wasting time going through 800 leads to finally get a deal, or are you able to convert very quickly on the first 20 and maybe you have a high lead conversion percentage, and we focused on that. Today we are putting everything back together and looking at a business plan to take and implement certain strategies with regards to scaling your business and making it to the next level. So grab your gym buddy. Thursday, we are going to review this, what we go over today, and putting the plan together. So come on in on Thursdays, 1 o'clock. Really does make a difference in order to work alongside a team. If you're more individualistic, that's okay. You can share your ideas, but I think it's important to get back into the office. It's a great, healthy work environment to reconnect and network amongst your other agents within the office. So after you grab your gym buddy, the agent success app that you guys have been using, hopefully, can really be utilized if, let's say, you are work on your own and want to hold yourself accountable. Sometimes putting in technology in place in order to do that is really good. There's an app out there for those techie people that want to work, with their phone or their desktop, because this is a desktop app as well. It's really great because it's like Weight Watchers points for real estate agents. So it gives you points for your prospecting. It really helps on Mondays or the beginning of a week in order to look at a bunch of prospecting ideas, ways to engage with people and create those relationships and or build out those relationships or meet new people. So, and you get points for it, and you put your goals in there, and those goals will be converted into a point goal for the month. And it really does help with the accountability. So give it a shot. So where does your road start? every week we talk about this. Where is your road currently? Whoops. Are you at the award-winning level of 114.5? That's our master's award level. Are you at the 320 where you're a Centurion? Are you killing it and doing amazing with a double Centurion? So you've doubled your income there. And or are you at Grand Centurion level, which is very, very difficult to get to, obviously. And really the reason why it's so difficult is because you only have enough time in the day. So this is why we're going through the road to Grand Centurion is how do you make it from 114 to the 320? If you're at 320, go to 640. And there are strategies along the way in order to get there. Of course, if you've been to all 6 sessions, you know that we focused from the beginning on the Master's Award level. And really, those are the fundamental programs that we have with Quick Start and Brian Buffini and Chris Leader. It really says, if you're a real estate agent now, how are you going to create a career where you're not getting paid by anybody other than your commissions earned? And therefore, you need to rely on your systems and relationships in order to get you business. So what are those foundational programs you have to, non-negotiables, you have to set up? As soon as you're into the Centurion top level or double Centurion, you really, you know your business, you know what's successful, you're leveraging that, but maybe time is an issue because you're running around with your head cut off. You're saying, how are the people doing 640,000 every year? And I've got no life at 320. And that's the sort of things that we've been talking about throughout the program of scaling. And of course, the Grand Centurion level. For those that aren't quite there yet, you will be shifting your business from one-on-one relationship building to building out a greater team and people leveraging other people's time in order to create a return. So today we are going to talk about what is the plan? What is your plan moving forward after this session? And I'm going to go through all those things to consider when putting together a business plan. And then at the end of today, I do have a link that you can click on. We'll put it in the chat that you will be able to fill out and or answer a bunch of questions that I've put in there based on what we're going to review now to help document that plan. Okay, rather than giving you a PDF, which we do have in terms of business plan, I really want to ask you specific questions in your business and key numbers, key fundamentals, action plans, prospecting, everything we've reviewed over the last 5 weeks. And we did it in a nice, easy format that you can, download your plan in an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can implement it in any way and form that you'd like. And of course, it's there. It's there for next year. It's there for future years to review. So let's talk about the numbers first. And again, a lot of this is review, but if you didn't have a chance throughout the program to write it down and really put it in one place and kind of feel a little scattered right now, this is the opportunity to take all that information, put it in one place and not be so scattered. Don't worry about if a lot of people will take screenshots of what's on the screen here. Again, we are putting it into a format you'll be able to fill in, and this presentation will be put on the Google Drive as well, so you can always have access to it. You just have to type in the road to Grand Centurion, and we have the last one we did 2022 as well as 2023's version, which is completely different, and that's what we're on now. So first question, what was your gross closed commissions for last year? You want to look at the past to see where you were and where you're going to head. So you're going to write that in there. Gross closed commissions for the people that you know and were referred. So these are the people that know you and refer business to you. What was your sphere of influence return on relationship number, right? So if you did 200,000 last year and 160 of it came from your referrals and the people that you know, then you put 160 in there. And then the gross closed commissions for the people that you don't know last year. These are things that you generated and built brand new relationships through advertising, prospecting, people you didn't know prior to doing business with them. And then you're going to put in what your goal for gross closed commissions is for this year. What's your goal? If you did 200 last year, are you going to 300? Are you going to try and double and go to 400? You'll put that goal in there. Then we want you to calculate your hourly rate. This is what your time is worth. It's a very good exercise. The reason why we do what is your hourly rate and what is your time is worth is because you need to look at ways to identify and work more efficiently and scale your business with your time. Focus on the things that are more important and have others that maybe you could pay less an amount in order to do. So you're going to take your GCC, which is your gross closed commissions this year. You're going to divide it into the weeks worked and the hours per week. So if your GCC is 250,000, that's what you're projected to do, let's say, and you divide it into the weeks and hours. So you, if you're 44 hours a week, 44 weeks a year and 40 hours a week, that's 1760. So you'll take 1760 and divide it into your 250, and you'll come up with, I think it's $143 per hour as an example. So you want to know what you pay yourself. So when you do mundane tasks such as your paperwork, it's just filling things out, and or maybe you're handing out flyers, not knocking on doors, just handing them out. Yeah, you can pay somebody $25 an hour for that rather than paying yourself 143. Your time is worth more. Okay, so that's, and when you fill out the numbers for the link that I'm going to send you at the end, these are the questions I'm going to be asking. Okay, so I want to explain these questions out, and then we're actually going to go through and fill it out, and I'll show you what it is. So we do focus on the sphere of influence first, and these are the questions I want to ask you. How many people do you have in your CRM? It could be 360 people, different reasons why they're in there, but you know them. Their context, you know. So your CRM is going to have people that you know, right? And that could be 360. How many people do you have addresses for? That's the more important number that I need you to put in. Okay, because you're going to take 15% of that, because that's considered to be an average return on relationship. You're going to divide that out by the addresses, people with addresses, and that's your potential deals. 15% times your minimum, or sorry, your addresses, people with addresses. Those are your key relationships, and that should be your potential deals. Okay, so there's some questions that in your business plan that we're going to be asking that rely on that number. Here are some of the things that you're going to do in your sphere of influence and that you need to have in place. So we're going to be asking, what do you have in place and what are you going to put in place, right? Do you have a physically mailed newsletter? Physically. Everybody says mailed newsletter. Oh, by email? No, that's not mailed. That's emailed. So physically mailed newsletter. Do you do pop buys? Minimum twice a year on all your sphere of influence with addresses, of course. Minimum calls 4 times a year. Everyone gets a phone call. Right? Keep your notes into the CRM system. You need to have them for future calls. Note cards, minimum 5 per week. Birthday card program. Do you have a birthday card program? Are you sending out handwritten birthday cards? Special occasions email. That's in Remarketer. Are you at least touching base and just reminding every now and then, or Happy New Year, Happy Persian New Year today, right? You should be sending that out. Physical calendar sent. A physical calendar. So it's a thing of value. It's kind of the age-long, we'll call old school calendar that people still use. Yearly home market update. Do you call and say, because you know where they live, here's your yearly, or do you do a video and send the video out and do a yearly home market update by video? Or do you call them, or do you mail it to them, or do you just drop by and give you, here's your market update, this is what's happening in your marketplace. Yearly home anniversary gift. So if they just purchased from you, or did you put them on a yearly home anniversary gift program? So every year you give them a gift on the year of the date they purchased from you. These are things that you're going to do in order to really connect with your sphere of influence and remind them that you're in the business. Return on investment. Now you're going to look at last year's return on investment. What did you spend last year? So what was your total made, first of all, from your new business? So again, that number comes up again because that new business, let's put it in there and let's put that number. What was your total spent on the advertising to get that new business? And then that's your total return on investment. You're made, you're spent, and that's going to give you a number like 4.5, right? That means you had a 4.5 times return on your investment, a 4 times, 5 times. Now I know that I should be able to get a farm area up to 10 times return on investment. 10,000 makes you 100,000. In real estate, that's a pretty good number. So we can start to analyze and see where you can do a better job in certain areas and or decide to spend a little more money. You did 4.5 times your return on investment, let's say on a newspaper flyer that you did last year. Well, maybe you do it twice. Maybe instead of the 2,000 you spent, maybe you spend 4,000, do it twice as often. See if you can now double up your spend for return on investment. This year's totals, this just changed from last year. And now you go this year, what is your total? This should say this year totals, and what is your projected income and your projected spend. So what do you want to increase this to? So you did last year and then this year. Continue. So return on investment from last year, you're going to put in what you spent in each of these sources of income and what you made. And then each of these sources, if you're doing real estate news, farm flyer, homes and land, Twitter, paid bus stops. Yep. So there we go. Bus stops, bus wraps, television, radio, billboards, bench ads, any of this stuff that we're doing in here, you're going to want to know what you spent on it. You're going to want to know what you made on it, whether or not you're going to identify that as an area that you're going to double up on, or whether or not you might not spend that again because you've gone 2-3 years and you haven't made any money from it. You need to analyze your spend and your return on investment and where you can leverage that. Okay. Sorry, going into prospecting. Prospecting ideas. What is it you're going to do to leverage your time? Time is prospecting, is going out to do things. And this is where your dollars spend is important, to know what you're spending when you're prospecting on yourself. What did that cost you? So you need a return. You can't just go out prospecting all the time and get no return on that investment. But sometimes your investment of time, if you go out prospecting for 8 hours and it costs $1,000 of your time, you need a return on that. So you need to calculate that as well. So are you going door knocking? And then, for every 16 hours that you door knock, you're getting a listing opportunity, and maybe you did sell something, or maybe you've got a couple people looking for houses and you have returned on that investment of your time. Obviously, prospecting is meeting new people, but you need to analyze that. As you're scaling up, some of this prospecting is going to be done by other people on your team, other people you work with on your team, or your partner, or whatever you decide to do from a prospecting standpoint. As soon as your time is worth a lot more money and you're not getting the return on what you do, you'll have others maybe leveraged to do this for you. Okay, it's the same thing with online lead generation and conversion. Is that you have to start to realize that the amount of money that you are making when leveraging up is spent on the most important things. And when you're at $1 million, your time, that prospecting time, you can leverage money over time in a lot of cases in order to produce more results. And that's why people are able to do $2-3 million because they are leveraging money over time. Their time should be strictly doing things, converting, for example, in a listing presentation, and or sometimes it could even be offer presentation and getting the deal done. Right. So these are things that you need to take into consideration. But here's some prospecting ideas, right? So things like door knocking, cold calling, open houses, network groups, trade shows. If there's any others, we're going to have you write them down there. Each one of these, if you choose to do it, should have a business plan associated with it, right? That business plan will include things like your time spent door knocking and what your goal is, as well as what you're saying and what sort of dialogue you're using, what sort of conversion you're using. So there will be a worksheet where you will fill out the weekly prospecting activities and making sure to hold yourself accountable. If you decided to door knock and you're going to do that this year as one of your sources of income, then you're going to have a business plan saying, yes, every single week, I'm going to do at least minimum 8 hours a week on prospecting, door knocking, and this is my potential goals. This is what I'm going to say, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to need to build that in a business plan. Make sure you put that in a reoccurring event on your calendar. Maybe it's on your phone. That it tells you, yeah, 2 o'clock today, you are non-negotiable prospecting. If somebody's asking for a listing appointment at 2 o'clock, that's a higher priority, but you're still going to ask them. You say, listen, I have another event, or not event, but I have another a meeting scheduled for 2 o'clock. Is there any way you could do 4, or would tomorrow be better? Now, obviously, you're going to move your prospecting because the higher priority is the listing appointment, but you're going to still ask why, because I think people are going to respect your time. Busy people get things done. And if you follow through on your commitments for prospecting, it's something that is a non-negotiable moving forward. So make sure that you set the time for it and put it up there as pretty high priority that you move things around in order to do. Here's a ton of questions, right, that you're going to ask yourself this year to put into your business plan. I've put these down here because I think these are great key actionable items that you can put into your business plan to help scale your time this year. So which of these makes sense in your business plan? I have or will identified my advocates to focus on highest return on relationships. You put your ABCs, you know who your A's are. At any point in time, I should be able to say, hey, Farshid, who are your A's? I've got 4. Their names Bill, Samantha, Jane, and Jim. Those are my A's. And they give me 2-3 deals every single year. I focus on them, and this is how much I spend on them, and this is what I do for them. Number 2, well, I have or will convert my business contacts into advocates. So you've seen your A's, and now you know who your B's are, and you're going to do a better job converting your business contacts, your B's, into advocates by better communication systems, staying in touch, birthday cards, and everything in your sphere of influence. I'll focus on my sphere of influence to produce over a 25% return on relationship. Maybe you're at 15% now, which is average. You want to get it to 25, you're going to focus on that this year, and that's one of your goals. I need to automate my newsletter program. So if you don't have an automated newsletter program right now, you should have one, right? Spotlight newsletter, for example, sends it out every single every single month. And that is non-negotiable. It's happening for me. It's been happening for 17 years. If one person on my sphere of influence never received one, if they did receive one every single month for the last 18 years, they know I'm in the business, and they're going to at least consider giving me a call. I need a proper buyer presentation to minimize unproductive time showing homes, or maximize productive time. But so you want to minimize the unproductive time that you have right now showing houses, because houses can be time wasters with people that aren't qualified and or don't understand. They're not educated, so that they put a wall up and they're just not confident about purchasing a house. When you do the buyer presentation, these people buy quicker. And I've done this more than one occasion recently, including one this weekend. We have an agent in the office that went through a full buyer presentation with their buyers. And guess what? They bought this weekend after answering all the questions. They showed 3 houses, the top 3 houses on the market, and they bought right away. Why? Because they were educated. They understood, they knew what was going on. These people were educated buyers. I need to use a daily calendar that is time blocked to ensure efficiency and organization. Are you using a daily calendar? I can't believe, I just am shocked if there's anybody on today's Zoom meeting that doesn't have a time block calendar on their phone. They can pull it up and see what they're doing today, tomorrow. That'd be crazy. I just don't know anyone that could be that organized and they know exactly when everything is getting done. I'm going to use MoveSnap this year to maximize service and referrals. This makes me money with little effort. And it's very little effort. It's an automated system and gives a great service when firming up a deal and helping somebody through the moving process. Very little time, but it gives great service, which gives you referrals. I can leverage social media programs such as Back at You to organize and maximize exposure. Again, automated systems. It fills in where you have failed, right? And everyone fails from time to time. That's okay. We get busy. We forget to post, right? But if you consistently have that branding, you can even take Back at You to the next level and do your own post and schedule your own stuff. The next one, I need to shift and automate marketing systems on my listings, right? You're doing a lot of stuff, and it's taking a lot of time in order to create a great experience in terms of the photography and the drones. I know some people that bought drones and do their own photography. That's craziness. Are you really going to pay yourself what you would pay somebody to do drone photography, or are you a real estate agent that focuses on building relationships instead of doing drone photography? It's just silly to do it yourself. You should be paying somebody to do it. And we have taken the program from the beginning of marketing your listing all the way to the end with Spotlight. They even have, would you like to send out just listed flyers, just sold flyers? Keep in mind with Spotlight, you can do your own photography. You can do your own drone. If you got somebody to do it for you. It's essentially a platform in order to get the highest exposure return on lead generation and things like automated, just listed, just sold flyers, everything like that. So it automates the process. It's a lot better for your time. I need to do a business plan for the extra pillars and sources of income. So you may be currently doing door knocking, but you don't have a business plan for it. You're just doing it sporadically. You're not looking at your numbers and your time spent and your return. You're not looking at ways that you can change your dialogue and do a different program that's more efficient use of your time, right? I'm doing enough business. Sorry, I'm doing enough business. I need to hire an assistant. So are you at the point where you are doing a lot of the administration stuff yourself and you need to implement a part-time assistant to do some of the stuff for you? And are you doing enough business? I need to hire a full-time assistant. So now you're even to the next level of taking a lot of that time off your shoulders and you focus it on prospecting and conversion. I need to create a strong and confident dialogue to brag about myself to convert leads. Are you the type of person that answers the phone or calls back a lead and just answers their questions? Or are you able to say, well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am the best real estate agent in this area. I know everything. In fact, I have a whole list of online or offline non-MLS exclusive listings that I know you can really take advantage of for your investment. You know, that's just an example. You're bragging about your services and yourself, and they're going to go, okay, you know, I'm going to hear you out. Yeah, I'd be interested in finding out a little bit more about your services. Me and my assistant will be looking for a great buyer agent this year to scale my business. And the reason why I said my assistant and I, right? So, or me and my assistant. The reason why I said that is because you're going to do it together. You're going to get the assistant to do the interviews, and then you're going to do second interviews, or vice versa. You guys are going to find the correct buyer agent for the team together, because you start with an assistant. You don't start with a buyer agent, typically, right? Because you need to take the time off of your shoulders to maximize and double your income before you start handing away leads, right? Don't hand away business. You can do that business as long as you manage your time effectively. I will be implementing a fantastic onboarding program to build out my team. You need to have a good onboarding. Your team member will jump on, jump off. And a lot of you that have built teams in the past know this as a fact, is that not everyone sticks around when you're doing, and it takes a lot of time of your time in order to create an environment, and then they leave you. So if you build out a great onboarding program and training program, get them onboarded properly, it makes a big difference when building out a team. And I will be implementing a fantastic once-a-week training program for your team. These are now scalable things we're talking team systems. And is that what you're going to focus on this year? So you are a highly skilled, amazing realtor, and this is going to be a rock star year. And what I want to do now is I want to go to the form that I was talking about and just quickly fill that in to show you how it works, because you can do this now. And what I'm going to do is move over to the form. Let's go over to my form here. As soon as I find it, one sec. There we go. Okay. First of all, I'm going to share that. Actually, I'm going to go through the form, and then I'm going to share the form with you guys so that you're watching what's going on here. When you get this form, you're going to see the beginning, which is right here. You're going to hit next, and it's going to start going through the questions. So what was your gross commission, closed commissions from last year? In this case, I put 160,000. What was your gross closed commissions for people you know and were referred to last year? So 100,000 of it out of the 160, I've put down as my referred people. And then I made an extra 60,000 for my other sources, were the people that I didn't know, did open houses or, did some advertising, etc. What's my goal this year? I want to take 160. I want to go to 250. Let's say I'm really just going up a little bit. I mean, really you should be 300 or whatnot, but I put 250 just as the example. So let's calculate your hourly rate that you pay yourself. This is important to realize what your time is worth. Okay. So you're going to take, my goal is, so this is an example, and then this is what I did, right? So I put this in the question. The example was 200,000. You work 44 weeks per year and you work 40 hours a week. So 44 times 40 is 1760. So you divide that into 200 by 1760, which came to 113 per hour. In this case, I said I wanted to do 250 by 1760. So I'm paying myself $142 an hour every hour that I work. Then you're going to hit next. The second component is your sphere of influence. How many people do you have in your CRM? I put 362. How many people do you have in your CRM with addresses? I put 98 addresses. What is your return on relationship? Wants you to calculate what that is. So I have 98 people and I divide it by 15 deals that I did in the past, which I know now my return on relationship from last year is 15%. Okay. In this case, I did it as 98 people in the CRM with addresses, and I divided it by the amount of deals I did, and I came to 13.5%. So I'm a little under the average. I know I got to do a little more on my sphere of influence to hit the average of 15. So let's predict the future. I want to get to 18, right? This is what I put, 18. I use the example as 20, okay, in the question. So when you do it as an example is there. So take a minimum average return of the 15% or higher if you want to be higher. If you're already at 15, you want to get to 20, put 20. And times up at the total amount of people in your sphere of influence with addresses. Example, you want to improve to 20 and you add 20 more people to 120 total. And that is 20% times 120, which is 24 deals. Now you know you're going to be 24 deals. I put, for me, I want to improve from 13.5 to 18, and I'm going to increase my sphere of influence to 130 people. So my next year, I want to do 23.4 deals. Okay, so the examples are there as you go through and fill this in, just in case you need to answer those questions. Next question. Have you tagged your sphere of influence? Have you gone through everybody you know and put them as an advocate, a business contact, a contact, which is just straight somebody you know, and then somebody you don't know? And are you going to delete them? So if you don't know them and they're on your sphere of influence list, you got to make a phone call to them and say, hey, I apologize, you're in my phone, but I don't know who you are. Can you, and have that conversation. And then, oh, really? You don't know me? I don't know you. So, okay, well, I'll delete you. I didn't want to send you anything that, didn't want to spam you, right? So I put in, no, I haven't done it, but I will. That's part of my action plan this year. What are you going to have in place this year to ensure a higher return on your relationship? So I've sort of put this year as your, what are you going to put in place this year? Now, it could be stuff you've done in the past and that you're going to do this year, but this is your sphere of influence. I physically send a newsletter. I pop by minimum twice a year. I call minimum 4 times a year. I send note cards 5 per week. I do a special occasions email in Remarketer, and I do a yearly home market update. That is my sphere of influence action plan right there. Okay, if you do birthday cards, you check mark birthday cards. If you do physical calendars, you can do that. If you don't do special, this is how you're going to check mark what it is you're implementing this year into your sphere of influence. Okay, then you're going to hit next. Then you're going to say your return on investment. This section will help identify areas where you invest your money and your time. What did you do last year? Did you do newspaper advertising? And you do a farm flyer program, and you do, let's say, Twitter pay-per-click, right? So you're going to see what you did last year. Maybe I had a billboard, and say this year, yeah, I'm going to continue with that one. I'm going to continue with that one, but I'm not doing Twitter this year. I've decided to switch over to somewhere else. Meta, Facebook, Instagram. I've done the billboard, but I thought that was a waste of time. So I'm switching over to bench ads, right? So now you're saying, where are you going to go to and from? What I did do is put in the following sections, what you spent on it. So what did you spend on all this stuff last year? So I spent $10,000. How much commission did you make? I didn't make anything. I've done all this stuff, but I didn't make anything. What was your return? Well, in this case, it was 0. But in the example, let's say you made 140,000. Maybe you spent 30,000. So you have a 4.6 times return on your investment. That's good. Then break it down, right? So you will need to decide if you're going to scale up or down based on those items. So in your spreadsheet, when you're done this, you're going to have these items. You're going to need to break them down. You're going to say, I spent 5,000 on a billboard. I didn't get anything. I've decided not to do it this year. So you've taken off 5,000, but you've reinvested in bench ads this year. Okay. And then you're going to want to know what you're looking to do as a return on that. Here's some prospecting. Again, it's what are you going to put in place this year? Maybe you're going to put in place door knocking. Maybe it's something I haven't thought of and you want to write it out. No problem. Right. The next section, your next question is, give me your best confident bragging paragraph that you would use when introducing yourself to a new prospect. The whole finish the line. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Aaron Richardson, and I am, what are you? What value do you bring somebody? And it can be specifically catered. And you should really, 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 really remember this as a dialogue to use. And you can always tailor it to the situation. So if you're looking for buyers, investment buyers, you might say, and I'm the absolute best when it comes to investment buyers. Just tell them, and maybe why. Because I have a list of off-market properties that I really focus on, because everybody knows what's on the market these days, but they don't know what's on the off-market these days, right? So you can do something like that. And you're going to hit next. Then you're going to look at your general scaling goals, right? This is the full list. I'm not going to go through the full list again because I already went through it with you. But you are going to say, I am going to go for a 25% return. I am going to implement MoveSnap, and I am going to hire a part-time assistant. Okay, these are the things you're going to do this year to implement action plan item. And if you think of things, that's okay, that's not on my list, right? Check mark and say, I'm also going to do this, and write it out. It'll be part of your business plan. Are you going to give it all this year? Nah, let's decide I'm not going to give it all. I'm hoping everybody says yes, right? And then you're going to hit submit. So that concludes the road to Grand Centurion. Please make sure to utilize that business plan in the last video, and make sure that if you're using the Excel training system, you can upload that business plan or any of the business plans or anything that you have as part of your business plan into the toolbox section located at the top right hand of your screen, right underneath the profile picture drop-down menu. Also, reach out to anyone, myself or anyone in the management team at any point in time. We have your back.